Always playing your cards close to the vest. You can't do that when one of those cards is the Joker.
If I said this one was going to be short and sweet, it would be a half-truth. Today we're going to discuss one of the Jokers in gaming. As of right now, Richard Epcar is voicing the character on consoles, and has been doing so since 2008's Mortal Kombat vs. DC. From what I can see, he's very divisive amongst fans. There are those who hate it, and then there are those who tolerate it. But however you feel about the Thunder God turned Jester, I think we can all agree that his portrayal is leaps and bounds better than the video game Jokers that came before him. Because I think this is yet another case of a contender for the worst Joker. This is undoubtedly the worst Joker in video games, at least. You know, I still think that itself might be a little bit of an understatement as well. Because this could be the worst Joker of all time. Look, I know I've said that before, but I think in hindsight, I may have misspoke. Comparatively speaking, this makes Brent Spiner sound like Mark Hamill. I don't think it quite overthrows Kevin Pollak in Injustice, but it's equally as bad. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna state it, they're sharing a spot for the worst. I'm talking about the Joker from Batman Dark Tomorrow. In the 2003 game, the part was played by actor Alan Enlow, who chose to play the part like an out-of-work clown with a sinus infection.
On the nosy! Say, you're good at this.
Hello, darling. So glad you could make it. Kidnapping Commissioner Gordon.
Tut, tut, tut.
And now for what's behind door number 2. No, we'll save that for another time, won't we? It's playtime now. Sure, child's play. I could do it every day of the week before breakfast.
But you didn't.
Well, of course not. What's fun about it?
Been taken care of.
Oh,
Nice
Mommy.
work. Thanks. I'll contact Robin.
I don't think I really need to point out what the problem is there. The performance sort of speaks for itself, and I think after hearing it speak, we all wish that it wouldn't. The voice itself sounds far too nasally and a little bit too mousy. It's less criminal clown and more children's TV show host. Not to mention, it almost sounds like he's speaking with a vaguely posh accent as well. And I don't know where that comes from, but I wish it would go back there because it just doesn't feel right coming out of the Joker. He sounds like the Queen's Court Jester. He sounds like a parody of what someone would consider to be proper. But then again, that's only one of 12 different things he's doing with his voice all at once. None of them good. It almost feels like when he falls out of one performance, he just kind of switches over to another one mid-sentence. I can't get an actual feel for what it is the actor's going for. His voice is only highlighted by the fact that he won't stop speaking. He's all over the place. And he gives a performance that feels like it's fueled by ADHD and speed.
That's a bad combination.
This is one of the hammiest Jokers I've ever seen. So much so that it almost seems too silly for the Silver Age. Cesar Romero's Joker would probably even tell this guy to calm it down. I will say though, in his defense, he did have a chaotic cackle.
It's a little, unsettling.
But it is the one good quality that this portrayal offers players. I don't hate the look. It doesn't really do anything new with the character, but then again, it doesn't have to. Yeah, it's simple and generic, but it's done well, and that's what's important. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Outside of that, though, I struggle to see any positives with this performance. Though the problems don't begin and end with the person playing the part. As a matter of fact, the biggest issue is the way the character is written and how poorly he's utilized in the story. He doesn't come off as diabolical, he comes off as dopey, which is emphasized by a plot that plays him for a laugh. Now, look, I understand why they might think that that's the way to go with a character named the Joker, but despite what his name might imply, you should never play the Joker for a joke. It feels especially out of place here when the rest of the rogues are showcased as the serious threats they are, and he's written to be some bad B-lister at best. Just think of the Joker being an afterthought and a total non-factor to Batman. Just because the character wasn't a huge part of the plot doesn't necessitate a depiction that feels more like parody. The character is such a joke that he's the only villain that doesn't engage with Batman in some sort of boss fight, and instead sends his lackeys after the Dark Knight. officially being beaten by a half-hearted punch when Batman wasn't even looking in his direction. As a matter of fact, when the Joker jokes and acts as if he's the brains behind the game's plot, Batman scoffs at the idea and basically states that the Joker is incapable of doing as such.
I know you weren't behind all this, Joker.
What? You don't think I could have pulled all this off?
The Joker, the criminal mastermind, one of the most intelligent enemies the Dark Knight has ever faced.
None other.
Goofy in nature, sure, but there are very few things this man is incapable of, outside of compassion. Yet the game doesn't even make him an obstacle for Batman, but instead a slight inconvenience. I know we're past this betrayal of the character now, but we were kind of already past this type of portrayal for the character back then as well. The Joker happily playing a part in someone else's plan is extremely out of character. It's almost on the same level as Batman killing somebody. I don't doubt that the Joker would act like he was part of someone else's agenda, but that would really only be if he had his own personal plans. Outside of Harley Quinn, Joker partnerships are pretty short-lived, and there's good reason for that. Having the character written off as a willing pawn, I think shows a fundamental misunderstanding, or at least mishandling of the character. And I think it's clear that I've definitely given way more thought to this character than the developers did. Probably far too much thought, actually, for a game that came out in 2003. Batman Dark Tomorrow's interpretation of the character basically boils down to bad laughing man. At the end of the day, this has to be seen as the worst Joker in the worst Batman game. If you like this video and want to see more of the worst or more obscure Jokers out there, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.